When you last saw us, we rode our bikes to Fraser, where we could get on the first of our 2 trains back to Seattle. That train eventually came, and with a flurry of activity, we got our bikes and our stuff, and ourselves, on board.
Hi there.
Hey, we're on a train.
We're probably laughing because a little bit of, anxiety is off because we made it to the train on time, although the train was an hour and something late.
Almost 2 hours late.
Okay, almost 2 hours late. But we did our 13-mile ride this morning. Get to the station, and there was a lot of climbing. Robert did most of it. We are in our roomette, is what it's called. So it's kind of narrow.
It's cozy.
All right. Again, calling all those 11:30 observations.
They're calling the lunch break now.
That'd be the blue ones.
Yeah.
Bring those tickets with you in the honor system, but only to an
it'll
extent.
work for us. We got our bikes on with
And
no
if you don't have one of
problem,
those tickets,
and we have our bags that we think we'll
and we will
need
see you
in this
later in the
room.
observation car.
And we have a nice porter named Chris who's going to help us.
Calling those 11:30
There's a beautiful
observations.
river out there right now.
Yep.
There's the view out the window. Pretty cool.
And the meals are included, so
Yeah.
we will be eating lunch pretty soon, which is cool. We had a nice breakfast at a funky place that we really enjoyed.
Yeah, and I was able to get out and pick up some last-minute items like a deck of cards, so we can play cards up in the observation deck while we drink.
Apparently, once we get our tickets that we have to get in the observation deck, so.
Yeah. Anyway, oh, we're in the tunnel. Talk to you later.
The first train we took was the California Zephyr, which runs from Chicago to Emeryville, just outside of Oakland. It passes through small towns, so you get to see a lot of areas of the country that most people never see. We passed through the dry hills of Denver first, including a brief stop in Granby, where we had stayed the night before. It would have been nice to get on the train there, but Amtrak unfortunately only allows you to load a bike from certain stations. Although we found that some Amtrak folks were not happy about letting us load or unload bikes from any station. Soon we passed through Grand Junction, a big Colorado wine area. We decided that this might be an area worth visiting again sometime.
Okay guys, we are on the train and we are, there's Robert, in our roomette, which we've never been in a sleeper car or a roomette. As you can see, it has lots of little places to store stuff. Robert has a seat. I have a seat. Yeah, me. We have an outlet. We have a big giant window. Right now we're pulled into a station, so there's nothing really pretty to look at. There's a table and there's a bunk bed up there, and then there's a bed down here that we're sitting on, and we'll be on this until California. So anyway, it's gonna be fun. Ciao.
Night came just after we crossed into Utah. We spent most of the afternoon eating lunch or dinner in the dining car, where we were seated with other passengers with whom we had some rather lively conversations, or hanging out in the observation lounge or our room. We read or watched things we had saved on our iPads, and we did play some cards, usually with Carol thrashing me at gin rummy. Oh, and since you've seen what a room is like on Amtrak, here's what the bathroom is like. And here's the shower. They have plenty of towels, soap, shampoo, and everything was quite clean. Here's the upper bunk after our porter, Chris, made it up. Carol slept there the first night while I took the upper on the next train. Since the upper bunk was kind of crummy, however, I gave up the lower about 4 a.m. so Carol could sleep and I could watch the sun come up. Spending this time like this was kind of an eye-opener, at least once I found coffee and got my eyes open, because it showed me just how much Amtrak waits around for freight trains, or anything apparently, as it crawls across the country. During the night, we had passed through Salt Lake City and also had a 2-hour delay thanks to a stopped freight train. As the sun came up, the train sped up to try and get back on schedule, cruising through dry Nevada. Into the funky hills outside of Reno, and then climbing up through the lovely Sierra Nevadas, before finally crossing into California near Lake Tahoe.
Hi there. We're in California.
It's our second day on the train, just before lunchtime.
Yeah. So the train was okay. I think we both slept all right on it. I think the bottom bunk is better. Top bunk is a little thin, and the food has been okay. The shower was okay.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's been an interesting trip.
Yeah, we've gotten to meet quite a few of our fellow train mates and have some interesting conversation.
Yeah. And got to see some beautiful country. It's a very slow trip. Sometimes stopped, sometimes going backwards, but I think we're making progress towards the end.
We're on schedule to be about an hour late.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, we'll talk to you again from Oakland.
Where we're spending the night. It'll be nice.
Yeah. Off the train.
Exactly.
We arrived in Oakland only about an hour behind schedule. We quickly got our bikes off the train, again prompted by impatient Amtrak employees, put on panniers, and rode through Oakland to our hotel. We went out to dinner at a place close to the hotel, since we had no car and the neighborhood was mostly sketchy folks eyeing us in unfriendly ways, and some puffins. The puffins were at least willing to pose for pictures. After a good night's sleep, the next day we hung out and then had lunch with friends we had met at a randoneering event the month before. Then we went back to the Amtrak station to wait for the train. Carol and I took turns watching bikes, walking around the area, and getting dinner. Fortunately, the train was almost on time, and the Amtrak folks there actually helped us get everything on the train. We headed north as night fell, and the porter again helped us set up our bunks. This time, I got the upper one. In the morning, we got to watch as the train slowly made its way past Mount Shasta and into Oregon. The rest of the route was familiar to us. We passed through Eugene and Salem, stopped for a little longer in Portland, and then crossed the Columbia River to come back into Washington. It seemed like no time at all before we were back home at King Street Station in Seattle. There, we were once again hurried to unload our bikes and get off of the platform. The station is less than a mile from the ferry to Bainbridge Island, so in less than an hour, we were home again. Next week, we talk about what went wrong and what went right. See you then.